All right, let's talk Cincinnati Bengals. This is a Bengals team that's been making a lot of big time moves already this offseason to address some clear weaknesses. Of course, Cincinnati fans, you are likely well aware of the fact at this point that Al Golden is your new defensive coordinator. The Bengals have made some other hires as well to fill out the defensive side of the ball. I think right now you've got to love what you're hearing in terms of how the Bengals are going to fix their defense. We've got a great report on that. But first, I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, we know with the Bengals, the offense is going to be fine because you have, in my opinion, the best quarterback in football, Joe Burrow. You've got the best wide receiver, if not the best number two, in Jamar Chase. Issues on the O line, we get it, but there's a lot of elite level stuff on the offense. Got to fix the defense, and the Bengals made a smart move, in my opinion, to move off of Anarumo, bringing in Al Golden. Things are going well, especially when you consider Al Golden's approach, his strategy to fix this team. Let's pull up this report, and we'll go deep into it on the other side. This is courtesy of Athlon Sports. Golden's second tenure with the Bengals comes with a clear vision to improve tackling and ensure the defense finishes strong. In his introductory press conference, Golden emphasized the importance of being really good at tackling and finishing plays. Ultimately, we want to be really good at tackling and doing, this is important, the little things well, similar to do your job, right, with the Patriots. Similar dynamic here. The new Bengals coach proclaimed one heartbeat, core fundamentals that behind us, that ultimately a team that's a player driven. He believes that these fundamental aspects are crucial for the team's success. Again, it's not about the X's and O's. It's not necessarily about the talent on the defensive side of the ball. It's the attitude, it's the demeanor, it's the execution, it's the accountability that went away with Anarumo. That's changing with Al Golden. This is a great sign for the Cincinnati Bengals defense. And Miles, I know you've got some really interesting insights on this for the Bengals going forward. But first, Cincinnati fans, your turn in the comment section below. Grade the hire of Al Golden and just the structure of this defense with some of their other hires as well as we're getting ready for the offseason for the 2025 year. Grade it. You love it. A plus. Hate it. F. Okay. C. Whatever it is, grade this hire for us in the comments section below. But Mize, your turn now. What are your thoughts on this big move by the Bengals?
Yeah, Nick, I love that Al Golden's able to come in and pinpoint the weaknesses of this defense exactly. The two things that really were probably the things they did the worst this year immediately and said, these are the things we're going to fix. That's what you want to hear as a Bengals fan because you look at this defense, overall, it performed pretty bad. 22nd in the NFL for PFF as the ranking. And he talks about first, let's get into the first part here. Talks about tackling. And everyone's like, well, no, duh, you got to work on tackling. That's an essential part of defense. Every play pretty much ends in a tackle or a touchdown, one or the other. So you got to work on tackling. Well, if you look at what the Bengals did last year, they obviously didn't work on tackling. They were 23rd in the NFL here. You can see the tackling grade to the right in orange, 42.7. That's bad in case you're not great at math. The Bengals 23rd in the NFL at tackling. So they definitely need to work on tackling. That's a core part of football, but something that they've been struggling with here as of late. And the second thing he talks about is finishing strong, whether it's finishing in the play strong. And in my opinion, it could translate into finishing games strong as well, because this Bengal team struggled at the end of a couple crucial games this year. And I personally think it was the difference of them making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. Specifically, the big two that come to mind are both times they let the Baltimore Ravens come back and win the game on them. Both times in the fourth quarter. The first time they were able to score 17 points in the fourth quarter to take the game to overtime. The second time they were able to score 21 points in the fourth quarter to outright win the game. You can't let that happen as a defense. You have to finish stronger. And even against the Broncos scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to take them to overtime. They were able to get it done in overtime and beat the Broncos, but still, having a team come back when you're up 2 scores in the fourth quarter isn't a good look. You have to finish stronger than that. So I think everything Al Golden here, he's just talking about what this team knows, needs to do. He knows what they need to do, and I expect to see a major improvement on defense here from the Bengals next season.
Yeah, sometimes what happens with coaches when they've been in one place for too long is you try and get too high level with your concepts and you lose sight of what really matters. And you look at what happens. A good example of this is the Kansas City Chiefs. Steve Spagnuolo, their defensive coordinator, keeps things very complex. He has a lot of aggressive blitzes, but he doesn't start the season that way. He kind of eases into it. They start very slow and kind of get into it gradually. And by the end of the year, playoff time, the Chiefs are throwing everything at everybody, like we saw in the AFC Championship game a short time ago. I think Lou Anarumo kind of lost sight of that a little bit. I mean, he was a very aggressive, did a lot of really smart things, threw a lot of befuddling defenses, famously did that coverage scheme against the Kansas City Chiefs to beat Kansas City in the AFC Championship game and gave them fits the following year. Controversial penalty, I'll call it that, is the only reason the Chiefs beat the Cincinnati Bengals. But since then, he's kept it so high level, or kept it so high level, where it never went back to basics, never went back to fundamentals. And we did some film reviews of some Bengals rookie defenders, and one thing that always was just evident is he had Bengals defenders not going full speed, or at least not seeming to go full speed, out of position, completely out of whack, losing gap integrity, not hustling to the football, not tackling well, like day one kind of stuff. And a lot of it, I think, is because Lou Anarumo was so focused on just 400 level, elite, PhD kind of defensive concepts instead of, hey guys, let's just clean it up and play football and get back to fundamentals. And I think that's what the Bengals missed. And I think the hire of Al Golden will help them solve that problem. And if you look at some of the other hires they're making on defense, it's in line with the same thing. You look at new defensive line coach Jerry Montgomery from the New England Patriots, who, by the way, Patriots were terrible last year. Second in tackling grade according to PFF. You look at their new linebacker coach, Mike Hodges. What are these guys? These guys are Montgomery was a scrappy defensive lineman, tried to make it in the NFL, couldn't get it, became just a guy that bounced around Arena League, scrappy guy, just hard worker, always trying to make it as a pro. Hodges was a walk-on player at Texas A&M. Both these guys are attitude players, not the best athletes in terms of their competition when they were players, but they were scrappy, they were determined, they fought and battled for every single inch, every single second. That was missing last year on the Bengals. Al Golden and his staff are going to bring it back. I think Cincinnati fans should be really excited by this development.